I mean, this was a random start because I got super curious. I think I saw someone talking about this on BookTube, and I'm like, look, I finally found the book at a thrift shop, and I'm just going to give it a go. It was Steven Erikson's Garden of the Moon, book one. I was like, I'm just going to start this. And this is on the last week of May or something like that. And I'm like, how hard can it be? Everyone's talking about difficult read and dense as hell. Both are sort of true, but I would say I kind of flew through this for all intents and purposes. It took me about a week. It took me long. I mean, it's 700 something pages, right? And they only get bigger from here. And they do drop you in the middle of stuff, like a big war thing going on. You're like, I don't know the context of anything. But here's the thing. It's okay. It's okay. I would have to say, I think I keyed into what might be going on when it comes to people who pick this book up and then might get caught on I don't get it, I'm not keying in, I'm not like, and that's cool, right? I can see why someone's like, I'm just gonna tap out. Especially you get halfway through, you're like, well, I don't understand. Like you're get halfway through, if you read a lot and you're a big fan of storytelling, like I'm a huge fan of story patterns in particular. Act A, Act 2A, Act 2B, Act 3. 4 pattern system, or I got a 24 pattern framework that I've developed myself that I just like to algorithmically see if story beats are in certain places. And then when I read, I do this subconsciously because it's just something fun I've been doing for a long time, for 15 to 20 years. Okay, so when I'm reading stuff like Erikson, I'm like, that's not happening. Throw that out the window. It doesn't matter. Or does it? I mean, so partially it's true, but very much it's not. Yeah, I think that's why people drop this book. There's like 7 books in this, right? So that's right there. So there's about 7 books, right? And so I got to about, it was 3 or 4. I'm not sure. It was halfway through, right? Wherever that breaking point was. And I was like, that was my first point where I'm like, I need a break. Because that was like 3 days worth of reading. And I was like, it is a lot. I'm just in case it goes like completely off the deep end now and I really can't follow it, I'm just going to take a break and I'm going to read another book. I could probably be more coherent about what my thoughts are about Erikson, but I obviously didn't prepare. I thought I did. I thought I had everything worked out here. Listen, I was going to tell you that what I think I keyed into is that, I saw an interview with Steven Erikson, and I forget what channel it was on, but he was getting interviewed. And so he was talking a little bit about world building and how he writes and how he approached this particular series. And these are stories that took place based on this gaming group's experiences together, right? I mean, that's kind of how I took it. There are characters, maybe there's world building that happened, world lore Bibles that influenced the world that they were playing in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't really, the granularity of all of that doesn't matter. What mattered to me in terms of how I keyed into it and why I rolled with a lot of this to the point where it wasn't really difficult. It was dense at times, sure, but when you read this from the perspective of a game master, a lot of it makes sense. And so I game mastered for over 20 years. Mostly I was game master than a player. I've done a lot of game system stuff. I've done a lot of world building for these games and stuff like that. Some of them ran 5 to 7 years, right? And so I get how a lot of that can turn into something like this. Now, you got to be a craft of the language in order to pull it off. And it's very good writing. That's what I can say. If you're not a very good writer, you probably can't really pull this off, because then if the writing's not good, this won't hold together. But he's a really good writer. He's definitely a literary craftsman in my perspective. And then all the pieces that you're kind of experiencing here, I was reading it like a game master, if that makes sense. I wasn't reading it like this was a game, but I was reading it as if they were notes for a game, and they were just like a summary put into prose. Does that make sense? Whereas if you don't have that context, like you don't really have that history of being a game master that puts things together, that has to, like, players are running the show for 80% of the time, you know what I mean? And you're kind of navigating and pulling in, but you're kind of coming up with lore on the fly so that things kind of make sense. And you're like, 1,000 years ago this, and some gods come in, then you're like, this other history for this other thing. And you kind of like, you have to come up with things on the fly. And then you kind of stitch it together organically while you're in that game session for possibly years, So that's what this felt like to me. And so that's why it didn't bother me anymore, reading it and kind of flowing with it. Like, there's things with the puppet, like, that are weird. Like, you're like, are you sure that's how it's going to go? Like, for me, it was like, wait. Like, it was just starting to get kind of, I want to know more, and I don't want to spoil it, right? But it's just like, sometimes you get moments like that, you're like, all right, maybe someone rolled a critical. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. Look, we're just going to move on.